Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Qur'an QA session that inshallah I will start by giving an overview on the first shared task on question answering over the Holy Qur'an. So we'll start with why we are doing that work. Of course, Qur'an is the main and major source of knowledge and legislation and teachings in Islam. And it is also a rich resource of knowledge for Muslims and non-Muslims who seek answers from it to their questions, whether the questions are out of curiosity or out of skepticism. And one of the tasks that are related to question answering and gaining a lot of attention recently by researchers is machine reading comprehension. Unfortunately, there is not much work on machine reading comprehension on the Holy Qur'an, and that's why we proposed the Qur'an QA 2022 shared task, aiming to encourage people to work on this problem, in particular machine reading comprehension, and in general question answering on the Holy Qur'an, inshallah. Qur'an QA is a shared task, as you know. It acts as a standard platform for researchers to jump into the problem easily, to make it easily for researchers to jump into the problem easily, inshallah, by providing formal task definition, labeled data sets, evaluation framework, and also a publication venue to describe their work. Of course, eventually, we hope that this line of research or research direction will produce real applications that will serve the Quran and also serve real users. And that's our actually objective of organizing such shared task. Here is how the task is formally defined. We are given a question in Modern Standard Arabic, MSA. We are given also a passage from the Quran, of course, a consecutive set of ayat from a specific surah. And we would like to build a system to extract answers from the passage. And the answer is defined as a span from the passage. So it's an extractive reading comprehension task. For this year, because it's the first time to propose this task, we define the task to return any answer. So if the question has multiple answers, the system that would provide any of them will be rewarded fully, of course, if the answer is complete. We also provided the QRCD dataset, the Quranic Reading Comprehension dataset, which was built on top of a dataset that we built 2 years ago called Ayatic. So Ayatic is a verse-based Qur'an QA dataset. Given some of the questions, we found all direct answers for these questions in the entire Quran. So we extended this work and we selected some of the questions. We extracted the answers from specific passages, and that's the QRCD dataset. Overall, we have about 1,100 question passage pairs, providing about 1.3K answers. We split the dataset into training 65%, development 10%, and test 25%, provided, of course, the training and dev for the participants, and we used the test set for final evaluation. After the test phase has started, we realized that some of the test questions overlap with existing data sets. So we thought that let's exclude them to have a fair comparison. So eventually we had 238 question passage pairs in the test set with about 300 question passage answer triples. We perceived the problem as a ranking problem. So we use two types of evaluation measures. The first one is evaluating the top 5 ranked answers with a measure called partial reciprocal rank, which is an extension of the commonly used reciprocal rank measure. It just allows the partial matching of answers, because if we just use the exact match, that will be really harsh to the systems that can get partial answers. And of course, PRR also considers the ranking of the answers. That was the official measure in the task. We also used two other measures which only consider the top answer returned by the system. The first one is called exact match, which from the name, of course, just considers the exact full match of the answer with any of the gold answers, with the actual answers. And the other one was F1 at 1, which considers a partial matching. Those measures, they are more flexible and easier to interpret. That's why we provided them. Also, we report them for all the runs that are submitted. But PRR was the official measure because we were trying to give more chance for systems to find answers within the top 5. If you look at the three measures, you will see that EM is the most strict, then F1 at 1, then PRR. In terms of participation, since we announced at the beginning the start of the task, we got 30 registered teams, which is to us was beyond the expectation actually. Since the task is very narrowed in the domain and it's very new. Eventually, 21 institutes participated in the task. Many of them were collaborating, so actually they were 13 teams actually participated in the task. So we started with 30 registered, they got the training set, but eventually only 13 of them submitted runs. The submitted runs were actually 30. So for this set of numbers, I think that was really a very good start, and I personally consider that a big success to the first version of the shared task. This is the list of the participating teams. You can see from all over the world, from Asia, from Africa, from Europe. We actually have among the 21 institutes participating, we had about 8 that were non-Arab, which is really great for the first time. Overall, 40 team members composed these 13 teams. So for 40 students, academics, researchers actually participated in the task eventually. Based on the submitted papers and the system description of the submitted runs, we analyzed the descriptions, and we discovered mainly 3 trends in the methods. Of course, we will only focus on 3 here. There are more that you can find in the overview paper, but we will briefly discuss 3 of them today in this talk. We'll discuss the pre-training, we'll discuss fine-tuning, and we'll discuss the ensemble learning. For pre-training, almost all of the submitted runs used, of course, pre-trained language models. In the chart that you see, you'll see the distribution of them. As you see in the legend here, some of them were MSA only, some of them were used MSA plus classical Arabic, some used also dialectal Arabic, some used even multilingual pre-trained models. So you see here the distribution, some of the key messages here. The pre-trained language models that were trained or that were pre-trained only on MSA were generally the best. As you see here in the chart, the runs here are sorted ascendingly in terms of performance, in terms of partial reciprocal rank. The ones that used pre-trained language models that natively used classical Arabic were all below the median, the median performance of the runs. And that's really interesting. And I would like to hear from the participants why why the performance was like that. It was surprising because you know that Quran is in classical Arabic. So a model, we would expect a model that is pre-trained on classical Arabic might give a boost to the performance, but that was not the case. Some also of the teams further pre-trained with domain classical Arabic text like fatwa websites or the Quran itself, but of course I think the performance was not that good due to the limited size of these resources. For fine-tuning, some of the teams used only the dataset that we provided, the labeled dataset that we provided. Actually, 10 runs used QRCD only. And these are the green ones here. You will see that 7 of them were almost below the median, so the performance was not that good. 3 of them were actually among the top 5. All of them came from the same team, and we believe that the reason is not that they used QRCD only, because they did some post-processing also, as we will hear today. So in general, using QRCD only was not helpful. So other teams tried to add or to use either existing labeled datasets for machine reading comprehension, or augmenting QRCD with more questions and answers. And actually adding or fine-tuning on QRCD in addition to other large machine reading comprehension datasets was really helpful. As you see here, the blue ones, almost most of them were actually among the top runs submitted in terms of performance. About augmenting QRCD with other sources, you'll see that there are actually 2 teams who did that. One added questions that are very similar to the questions in QRCD and answers, which are I think magenta here. Those green used Islamic QA websites. So that was not very helpful. I think augmenting QRCD was relatively helpful, and I would like to see in the future more of that. Maybe we can use them inshallah in our next versions. In terms of ensemble learning, I think 3 at least teams used a mix of trained models. 2 teams actually adopted an ensemble of 2 or 3 different pre-trained BERT-based language models, all attained above the median, so it was relatively good, and all of them were MSA only. 3 runs of 1 team used what we call self-ensemble learning, which is using the same pre-trained model, but trained using different seeds. And they were not, that was not very helpful. This is showing the performance of the runs, submitted runs, per question passage pair. So these runs are first sorted by their median median score performance, and for each one you see the distribution of the scores over all question passage pairs. So as you see, this box plot spans the whole range from 0 to 1. That means that the scores over all questions and passages were actually spanning the entire range of scores. The key message here that we can see clearly from that chart is that we have large variance of difficulty in our test set. Some of the questions were really easy. Systems got almost 1 for them. Some were really hard. Systems got very low scores. And I think this is good for a test set, to have a large span of questions that are different in terms of difficulty. Just a quick pitfall here that I want to communicate to the participated teams and whoever is listening to us today, which is a key message in machine learning in general, and it was a message that or a lesson that we noticed from some of the participants. So the message here is that please never ever touch the test set. And touch means here that you, of course, your trained models should not, your models should not be trained on test set, and that's obvious, but even don't look at, by your bare eyes, at the test set, because that will be a big bias. So please avoid doing that, not only for this shared task, but in training your models in general. The test set should be completely unseen from you and from the models that you train, of course. Now to the maybe one of the most exciting moments in the talk. We are now announcing the ranking of the systems and the results. So we allocated actually 3 awards in the shared test to encourage the teams to participate and to do really hard work. Of course, it's just first version, so maybe the amounts are not that large, but I think they were a good incentive. We allocated $500 for the first ranked team, $350 for the second, and $250 for the third, with the condition that they will submit a paper, and the paper, of course, describing their work, and the paper gets accepted. So here are the 3 teams who got the awards. For the third rank, it is the GOF team, Ali Mustafa and Omar Muhammad from Helwan University. For the second rank, the QA team, Basim Ahmed, Mu'taz Saad, and Ishraq Rifai from Al-Aqsa University, Islamic University of Gaza, and Jazan University. The third team, the first team actually was TCE team, Muhammad Al-Komi and Amani Sarhan from Tanta University. So congratulations to these teams. Actually, congratulations to all teams who participated, and especially for these 3 teams. Of course, we will be in touch, inshallah, very soon with you. This is the full team ranking for each team. What was the best run, best performing run, and the scores for all the 3 evaluation measures. You can see that the first team, TF200, got the actually the best performance, but it was not among the 3 winners because for some reason they withdrew their paper. So the paper eventually was not published or was not accepted. So actually the 3, the second, third, and fourth were the award winners. But the key note here that I want to emphasize is the score that we achieved by the best submitted run, which is 0.586, which is really quite high if we think about the first year of the test. If you just want to get an idea of what this score means, 0.5 of PRR means that you either, on average, you either get the half matched answer at rank 1 or full matched answer at rank 2. So within the first and second rank, you get either half matching or full matching, which is, I think, quite good as a start. Still, there is a big room of improvement, but I think it's a very good start. The TCE team also got the best EM score, although that was not the official measure, but the EM score, the exact match score at rank 1, it was 0.269. So almost let's say 0.3. So 30% of the time they got the first answer fully matching with the good answers, which is also quite good. You can see that 5 teams achieved better than 0.5 PRR, which is also very impressive. We also had a best paper award, which was not conditioned on the performance, but we actually had a specific criteria. We allocated $150 for this award. We had a criteria of 5 elements: novelty of methods, producing new sources, depth in analysis of results, clarity of writing, and clarity of presentation of methods and results. We'll keep the announcement of this award to the end of the session. So stay tuned, inshallah, to the end of this session. Now, what's next? for the next version of the shared task. I hope that there will be, inshallah, many versions. We started very simple this year with a simple task. We would like to propose more challenging tasks, inshallah, in the next version. Some of the ideas that we have, we might ask systems now to return all answers, not any answers. And sometimes also some of the questions might not have any answer in the passage. So the system should be able to say there is no answer instead of just giving any answer. We can also return answers from a specific surah or from the entire Quran. Of course, this is much more challenging. And that's actually was our main objective, is to find answers in the entire Quran. Ayatic and QRCD will help, especially Ayatic, because we found all the direct answers for the questions. Of course, we need to extend it with new questions and answers, inshallah, for the next version. We can also allow in some subtasks maybe to utilize external resources, maybe hadith or tafsir, in addition to the Quran itself. I would like, by the end, to thank very much the organizing team at Qatar University. Without them, we wouldn't have organized such tasks. Rana Manhas, my PhD student, who actually owns the idea and dreamed of this task for a long time. Now the dream came to reality. Also, Wathaq Mansour, the master student and just graduated, by the way, and research assistant. Actually, Wathaq is looking for PhD opportunities. Wathaq was actually the technical guy behind this. Actually, he ran mostly the entire task in terms of technical work. I would also like to thank very much OSACT workshop for giving us the opportunity to organize such tasks. And finally, I would like to thank all participants. Actually, without them, we wouldn't have organized, or we wouldn't have had such day and such test. Without the participants, we wouldn't have Qur'an QA. So thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoyed working on this task and that you will continue working on this, whether within the shared task or in your own research. Thank you very much. I'm open to any questions. Any questions from the online participants? Yes, Am, go ahead. I see Am raising the hand. Go ahead, Am.
Yeah, so hello, Dr. Tamer. Thank you very much for organizing this shared task. I have a question related to the dataset itself. So since it's based on Ayatic, yes. And in the Ayatic paper, it was mentioned that actually questions are related to 11 topics, according to kind of classification of topics within the Quran. So I was wondering if you can actually provide such information as metadata for the questions, because it will help in like analyzing how the model performs in different topics and whether it's overfitting on a specific kind of topic, which might be related to specific kinds of questions. So
yeah, sure. We will be happy to do that. That's a very nice idea. That inshallah, hopefully this will help better informative analysis, of course. So inshallah, we'll consider that definitely. I hope that Rana is listening to me now and take a note of that, inshallah. Thank you.
I have one question. So I'm Wissam.
Who are you?
Wissam.
Oh, Wissam. Okay, from Obsidian. Okay, go ahead, Wissam.
Yeah. It's more like a discussion, not a discussion, like suggestion more than a question. I know that your group, Professor Tamer, works a lot on information retrieval. So I would like to see if you can like do a shared task on passage ranking, because I think like passage ranking and information retrieval is a bit lacking in Arabic specifically. So this is like a motivation.
Okay, another great suggestion. Thank you very much, Sam. Yes, sure. I would love it much more than question answering. That's so IR is my task. Yeah.
If I can comment, so we already have a shared task on community question answering. We shared the data maybe in 2017. I think we shared more than 100K question answer pairs ranked per relevance. Yeah,
I think in semi-eval, I think.
Yes,
Semi-eval.
Question answering. Semi-eval 2017.
Yeah, but it wasn't on Qur'an, I think. I remember it was from Islam Web question and answer.
We have one from Islam Web or something like this, and the other one from social forums like Qatar Living. Just
okay. Any other questions? I'm sorry that I ran out of time, I think. So
I have it says, sorry, Eric Atwell in Leeds University. To broaden this out, would it be possible to add parallel translations into English, since there are many English translations of the Quran, and to add questions and answers and the passage in English? So that would bring in many people who don't speak Arabic, who may want to enter the competition on the English version.
Sure, that's a third nice suggestion, but this is open to any participating teams. They can actually translate the questions. Questions are in MSA, so the translation will be quite good. We can, of course, provide manual translation, but at least any system can actually use maybe Google Translate and translate the questions in English or any other language.
But for the passage and the answer, you have to have a standard set to match against.
Yes, so you're talking about translation for questions only, right?
No, I think that if you ran the same competition or a similar competition next year, then if you have not just the English questions, but also an agreed translation of the passage and an agreed translation of the answer or answers.
Okay, as an extended resource, you mean?
Yeah, then everybody would come up with the same comparable scores that way. If you just leave people translate it themselves, then they can come up with different translations of the same.
Sure. The only point here is that still the answers should be from Quran, not from the translation.
Yes.
So eventually, even if you will work on the translation, you will have to map it somehow to the actual passage in Arabic, in classical Arabic, in Quran text. Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.